I've been a busy boy over the summer. We've been enduring 40-degree plus temperatures in the parched Algarve, enjoying local beauty spots with Mrs. RM on the ADV 350. I've been finishing off my Triumph Speed Twin customization project, and perhaps most important of all, coming to a major decision about where I want to go with this channel and the next chapter of our lives. So let me just find a parking place in the shade here, order a cold drink, and I'll tell you all about it. Let's start with the finishing touches to my Speed Twin. Now, I was never very happy with this factory clutch cover badge thing. The grey around the edge doesn't match any other grey on the bike, and the centre circle was beginning to oxidise, which is a bit naughty given that the bike is less than a year old, never goes out in the wet, and is garaged at all times when I'm not actually riding it. I'm sure it would have cleaned up, but it's still a bit disappointing, so I ordered this official Speed Twin accessory from Triumph. €50, which is a bit steep, but it is nicely made and it looks nice. On removing the original cover on the left, I was slightly underwhelmed to discover that it was just covering up this little finger-sized hole, the insides of which didn't seem particularly inspiring. I'd been hoping for a bit more wizardry, a small hadron collider for example, or at least a few springs and gears. But no, just a hole, no doubt designed with lubrication in mind. Now, I had thought about getting this gold version from the Bonneville Gold line to match the chain and the Öhlins reservoirs, but I wasn't sure how it would look. If the gold wasn't exactly the same as the other parts, it would look nasty, and so I ended up going with the simple black. Next, I had to do something about these bolts. There are lots of them on both sides of the bike, clutch cover and alternator cover, and they just didn't look right. Too bright again and too cheap looking. So I contacted my friends at Classic Bike Race in Germany, and they suggested I try their ready-made kit. Stainless steel bolts with black powder coated hex heads. 4 separate bags for the 2 badges, 2 large covers and sprocket cover. There are a few different lengths in the packet, so it's basically just a question of removing each stock bolt and replacing it immediately with the same length black bolts, so as not to lose track of what goes where. Why not titanium or aluminium bolts, you might ask? Well, they do exist, and they do weigh less than steel and contain more syllables, so are by definition way cooler, but I found it's unwise to mix metals. They oxidize at different rates and can fuse together over time. I found this out the hard way a few years ago when I bought some aluminium valve caps for my Volkswagen Passat, and when I needed to inflate one of the tyres a few months later, discovered the cap had fused with the valve and was literally impossible to remove. I had to take it to the dealer to get the whole valve replaced. Race teams, of course, can get away with using aluminium or titanium because they're constantly stripping the bikes down, so the metals don't have time to fuse together. But for us common mortals, it's much safer to stick with the same metal, and Race are obviously aware of this, as they only offer steel replacements in either silver or black. Anyway, after nearly a year of pondering, screwing, tweaking and painting with some very helpful input from you, so thank you once again for that, I think I've finished. As a reminder, here's the blank canvas I started with a year ago. Fashionable, but in my eyes slightly boring and period incorrect matte grey paint with that inexplicable high-vis yellow flash. Not ugly exactly, but I thought I could improve on things, and here's the end result. I know some of you aren't fans of the carbon fibre parts. You think carbon fibre has no place on a retro bike, and I get what you mean. However, I think they add a touch of sportiness in keeping with the big Brembo brakes and suit the bike's muscular ride. They also allowed me to delete some of the multitude of different shades of grey, and as we all know, colour reduction is usually a good thing. Anyway, I'm very pleased with the result and intend enjoying my own personal Speed Twin for many years to come. I haven't kept a detailed account of how much I've spent overall, just in case the wife finds it, But as a rough guess, I'd say I'm running close to €3,000 or £2,500 because the rear shocks alone were £1,250 and the paint job was £720. Most of the other more minor mods I've covered in my 40 mods in 15 minutes video last year. Link in the description if you haven't seen that. Let me know in the comments if you think it has been money well spent. Do you like the look? Are they worthwhile upgrades? Or should I have left it stock? And as some of you have suggested, just spend the money on fuel and tyres. Anyway, it's time for the big channel news. Let me give you a clue. I'm going to have to come up with a new intro because Mrs. RocketMan and I have decided to up sticks. After nearly 5 years down here, we feel our time in sunny Portugal is up. So we're moving back to northern France, where I lived for over 30 years before moving to the Algarve. It's a 22-hour drive, and the idea is to load up the car and the van with the Speed Twin and less important things such as beds and food and go for it, stopping overnight in Biarritz, which is both beautiful and exactly halfway. So a radically different climate, but we'll be closer to friends and family and, more importantly for the channel, within reach of more large motorcycle dealerships carrying more demonstrator bikes. I don't think the Honda ADV 350 will be quite so useful in Lille though, so that will probably be going up for sale in a few weeks. So if any of my Portuguese viewers are interested, feel free to contact me. France is home to one of Europe's largest and most enthusiastic biking communities, so I'll be able to test more bikes and more equipment. And I'll also be closer to the UK and therefore in a better position to pop over from time to time to try out bikes like the BSA Gold Star or Brixton Cromwell 1200, which are often launched in the UK weeks, sometimes months before they reach other European markets. Now make no mistake, Portugal has been great, we've enjoyed it, but we feel we've seen and done just about all there is to see and do here, and we're looking forward to the next chapter in our lives. As I've mentioned before, Mrs. RocketMan is Brazilian and doesn't speak a word of French, but she's broken out good old Duolingo and is making sterling progress. So you'll no doubt be seeing a bit less sun and a bit less ocean in my videos, but the greater variety of content that will come with a more dynamic marketplace will hopefully more than make up for it. Anyway, this is all for the autumn, probably October, November, so still time for a few more Algarve-based videos. And in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching.